Ben Shapiro, editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire, syndicated columnist, and host of the Ben Shapiro Show. What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a good day for the country when an ex-Nazi gets deported. And it is sad that there are so many prior administrations that failed to do the job. President Trump is very bad at being a Nazi, I think. You know, there's so many folks on the left who keep accusing him of Hitlerian tactics, and he's just like a Nazi. He just deported one, the last remaining one that we know of inside the United States. And that's a pretty good indicator that at least he takes this sort of thing seriously.
Surely. And, you know, I don't know that it could be a coincidence, but it doesn't seem to be, because yesterday the president hosted in the East Room of the White House the Salute the Heroes event, all about the ICE agents. And then this morning we wake up to the news that ICE had deported this last known Nazi. I think it's all part of the narrative that the administration is trying to present to voters before the midterm elections. Look, this is a choice election. You have got either the Republicans, who are strong on borders, they like ICE, versus the Democrats, who some want to abolish it and are soft on borders.
No question. I mean, this is certainly part of the president's main appeal. He's been tweeting about it all this morning, and he's exactly right. I mean, if you look at the Democratic Party platform right now, they're moving steadily in the direction of an anti-borders party that doesn't believe in the existence of something like ICE. And the president understands that you do actually have to deport some folks, and you do need a border enforcement authority. Otherwise, how exactly are you going to protect the citizens of the United States, both in terms of current citizens and also in terms of the character of the United States, when people can get in by lying about their Nazi past and then stay if you don't have anyone to deport them?
So you have Ortiz here in New York, who was successful, the 28-year-old who you've been trying to get to debate. And you have Elizabeth Warren saying crazy thing and Gillibrand saying abolish ICE. But the ones that are successful in the special election for the Democrats, the ones that almost win and close the gap, and others like Conor Lamb that do win, they don't talk about wild left strategies. They sound almost like Republicans, Ben. So where do you go from rhetoric to reality?
It's a really interesting phenomenon to watch as the rhetoric of the Democratic Party is taken over by the radical left wing of the party, while the people who are winning in a lot of these districts are people who are more moderate Democrats. If the Democrats were smart, they'd embrace the sort of moderate platform, but they're not going to do that because the base is so active and they're so interested in appeasing that base at this point. They're really afraid of alienating millennials who don't know a lot about border policy or care a lot about border policy, and that's leading them down a pretty electorally fraught path, I think.
All right, Ben, this was a shocker. An awards show got political. Last night, VMA Awards. Watch this clip.
You never know what's going to happen at the VMAs. I mean, beefs pop off, bad language, people run to the bathroom and send out crazy tweets. It's basically like your typical day at the White House. In your face, Trump. I'm looking at this like it's game day, people. But do not worry, because at this game, you guys are allowed to kneel. You can do whatever the hell you want. There's no old white man that can stop you.
I'ma have the courage to go out and get it. Do it, I love and support my girl.
All right, so Ben, what was your reaction to that? You had Logic, who's a rapper. He was wearing a T-shirt, slamming the border wall, and all the families, immigrant families, were joined together when the curtain,
wall went up.
The wall goes up.
Yes, so much courage. You know how much courage it takes to be in Los Angeles in front of a group of cheering people who hate President Trump and chat about how terrible Trump is and how terrible the wall is? The levels of courage, I mean, it exceeds Normandy. It's just incredible to watch all of these brave and courageous individuals who earn millions of dollars selling records to millions of Americans talk about their leftist politics in front of other cheering leftists who will undoubtedly congratulate them at the after parties where they get thousands of dollars of swag.
So, Ben, let me just ask you this. For Kevin Hart in particular, he's in New York City, at Radio City, and he's gone out of his way to be one of the most successful comedians and entertainers in the country. And every time someone tries to get him political, he always backed off. He says, I want to be positive. What happened? What do you think changed? Do you think he was winging it? To me, that seemed very intentional.
No, it was definitely intentional, and it was, I'm going to make a headline tonight, and I have to virtue signal to all the people in the Hollywood community and the New York community that I am anti-Trump. President Trump has basically become the moral litmus test for a lot of folks on the left and on the coast, which is why Michael Avenatti, who showed up at the VMAs yesterday, I wouldn't count him out as a presidential contender in 2020 for the Democrats simply because he fires up their base, and the only thing that unifies the Democrats right now, apparently, is hatred of the president.
And there's plenty of that to go around.
Certainly. And again, the VMAs, it just demonstrates the elitist nature of the Democratic Party and the elitist nature of the left right now, all the people in the middle of the country who are worried about their jobs, who are worried about manufacturing, who are worried about the issues in their towns, and that are being scorned by the folks on the coast, they're not looking at that with the sort of kind eye I think a lot of Democrats think they are. Hillary Clinton tried this in 2016 by trotting out Lena Dunham at the DNC. It didn't work then, but Democrats seem to be doubling down on what took them there.
You really think Michael Avenatti is a legitimate contender for the nomination?
I don't see why not. I mean, the fact is that he is seen as the most anti-Trump guy in the room. And if the Democrats underperform in 2018, I don't see why there wouldn't be a backlash to embrace somebody like Avenatti, who spends all of his time simply dogging the president.
He's busy at that. All right, Ben, thank you very much for joining us from the West Coast.
Thanks, Ben.